Hello everyone, this is Anson from AnsonAlex.com and welcome back to my 2014 video series on using Google Drive. In the last video we talked about the Google Drive interface and where everything is located within Google Drive. In this video we're going to specifically talk about creating documents here in Google Drive. So here I am in my Google Drive at drive.google.com, and to create a document all I need to do is click on the big red Create button at the top left of my screen. When I click on that button, a drop-down list appears that gives me different options for creating documents, and I can even create a folder from this location here in Google Drive. So if we look at this list, a document in Google Drive is equivalent to a Microsoft Word document, a presentation is equivalent to a Microsoft PowerPoint document, a spreadsheet is equivalent to a Microsoft Excel document, a form is a questionnaire or survey that you can do and have people fill out responses. So if you need to do a survey to see what people think about your organization, you can create it here in Google Drive and then you can send it to them by email for them to fill out responses. And a drawing would be like a diagram or flow chart that you might want to create. You could do that here in Google Drawing. Now there's also more apps you can connect down here at the bottom, and those change all the time, but you can create what's similar to a Microsoft project document. So you could have a project that you need to be completed, and you could have certain tasks, and in order to complete task 2, you have to complete task 1. If you've used Microsoft Project, you'll be familiar with what I'm talking about. A Gantt chart is what it's called. You could add a Gantt chart app here in Google Drive. So we're going to talk about kind of the basics of creating documents. So let's start by just creating a Google document, which is equivalent to a Microsoft Word document. So I'm just going to click on Document, and you'll notice that that opens up in a new tab in my browser. Now, as we compose documents here in Google Drive, they save automatically all the time. So the first thing we want to do to make sure that we can identify our documents when we go back to our Drive folder is to name our document. So up here at the top left of this document, you'll notice it says Untitled Document. I could go up here and I could change this and I could just call it Grocery List. When I click OK, you'll notice it says Saving in the middle of my screen, and now it says all changes are saved in Drive. If I click on the tab to the left and I just refresh the page here, you'll notice that in my Drive, I now have a document called Grocery List. That document is already saved, so I don't have to click a Save button or anything like that. And to start composing a document, you can just start typing like you would in Microsoft Word. So I can just start typing some grocery items. So I've got 5 grocery items. Now let's say I wanted to make this a bulleted list. I could just highlight these items, and then I've got this toolbar up here at the top where I can format all of my text. So you can see that I have the option to create a bulleted list, a numbered list. I could change this to, let's say, a numbered list. So you can see, just like in Microsoft Word, we've got a numbered list. I could make it bold, italics, underline, just like in Word. Don't know if that's necessary for my grocery list. I can change the text color by going to this field right here. I could change it to red, whatever color I want. I can change the font size. By clicking on this drop down, I can change the actual font up here. We can change our zoom, how big we want to see this document on our screen right now. We can add a link to this document. We can change our alignment. So if I wanted to align this list to the left, to the right, I could do that. I'd have to highlight the whole list, and then I could align the whole list to the right. I could align it in the center. We can also change our line spacing. So if you need double-spaced document, that's where you could do that. And we can also change our margins, or our indents over here. So we could increase the indent or decrease the indent. So you can see that you've got a lot of different options here in Google Drive. And like I said, as we type, this is saved. So if I just close out the tab and then click to open up my grocery list again, you see I have everything there. This document's accessible from any computer with an internet connection. All I have to do is log into my Google account. Now there's another thing that I want to show you in here, which also holds true to the other documents here in Google Drive, but we have what's called a revision history. So if you go up here to File, you'll notice that there is this option that says See Revision History. So if we've been working on a document for a while and we want to take a look and maybe revert back to an older version, maybe we don't like some of the changes that have been made, we could take a look at the revision history. You can see right now in my revision history, this window pops up. I only have one revision. But if I click this button at the bottom that says Show More Detailed Revisions, you'll notice with this one document where I only have 5 lines of text, I already have 5 different versions of this document. So I could go back to before I added it as a list, before I typed any of the items. And the longer you work on a document, the more revisions you're going to have. At any time, I could click on one of these revisions, and then I could click on the blue link to the bottom that says Restore this revision, and I would revert back to that old version. I would still have copies in my revision history of all the newer changes that we made too. So if we revert back to an older version and then decide, hey, we don't want to revert, we want to go back to the newer one we had, you can always do that in the future as well. So it's definitely a useful feature here in Google Drive. Keep in mind that you have a revision history. Up here at the top of our document, we have a couple of different buttons. We can actually add comments to this document. So I could highlight onions, for instance, and I could right click, and then I could click on comment. And I could say, make sure you get red onions. And I add this comment here. You'll notice it appears on the right side of my screen. If I click, say, on onions, the comment pops out a little bit because it's associated with the onions text. If I click on the actual comment, onions is highlighted in a little bit darker yellow. Now I also have this comments button up here at the top where I can open up a box of all the different comments that are on this document. I can reply to them. I could mark them as resolved. So if somebody says, hey, you need to fix this, and I fix it, I could then resolve this comment, and you'll see that a green check mark appears saying that this comment has been resolved. And it's not going to appear on the right side of our screen anymore. We actually have to click the comments button at the top to see that comment because it's already been resolved. If I reopen it, you'll notice it appears on the right side of the screen. So that's definitely a useful feature as well. You do have other features here in Google Drive. You can add tables to your documents, so if you need to add a little chart in there, you can definitely do that. You can do spell check, you can take a look at your word count, you can translate documents. You have a lot of different options. There's more formatting options up here in the format menu you can take a look at. We can insert images into our document, we can insert equations, drawings, footnotes, horizontal lines, page numbers, page counts, headers, footers, all of these different options that you would have in Microsoft Word. So this is just a Google document. Let's go ahead and close this one out and take a look at what a Google spreadsheet looks like. So I'm going to click on the big red Create button, and now we're going to click on Spreadsheet. Again, it opens up in a new tab. From here, I can click on the untitled spreadsheet to give it a name so we can easily identify this in our document. And we'll just call this Spreadsheet Revenue. So I can do all the same calculations that I can do in Microsoft Office. So let's say I wanted to find out my revenue for the month. I could type out the months here. We'll just say we do it for those first 8 months there. And then let's say our revenue is 300, 100. I'm just entering these numbers like normal. I want to show you a calculation here in Google Spreadsheet, which is why I'm doing this example. All right, so we have 8 months worth of data here. Now we want to figure out what the total is for these 8 months. I could go ahead and create a field here called total. And then when I have the field selected where I want my calculation to go, I can go up here to the functions menu and choose one of these functions. So I could choose the sum, and then I can select all of the fields that I want to sum up. So I could select all 8 of these fields, click enter, and you'll notice here is the sum for my total revenue for these months. If one of these months' revenue changes, the sum changes respectively. Now at the same time, we also have different data formats here in Google Spreadsheet. So let's say we're talking about money. We could select all of these fields and then go up here and choose the currency symbol, and it turns into currency. We can also choose percentages. And if you click on the 1, 2, 3 menu, a whole bunch more formats appear for you to use here in Google Drive. So you can do time, you can do hours, different types of scientific notation. There's a whole bunch of different data types for you to use here in Google Drive. Now you have a lot of the same options that you have in the regular document version of Google Drive. You can choose your font size, bold, italic, strike through, text color. You can insert borders around your charts. You can change your alignment. You can create charts here from within the spreadsheet. Now, I'm actually not a guru at creating charts in Excel or Google Drive, so if you have some skills in doing that in Excel, they should carry over here to Google Spreadsheet pretty easily, but there is a bit of a learning curve when you start creating charts in any spreadsheet program, so keep that in mind. And it's just like the Google document where it saves automatically, so I can just close out this tab. You'll notice that revenue is now in my Google Drive list, and I'm going to sort this by last modified. That's how I like to have my documents sorted. And I could click on revenue, and it opens up in a new tab, and I have all my data in there that I just added. Let's go back to our Google Drive here, and let's go ahead and create a presentation real quick. So this is, again, equivalent to Microsoft PowerPoint. So you can see it opens up a slideshow program here within our browser, within Google Chrome. We can choose a particular style, a theme that we'd like to use, already made by Google, or we could just go with a simple theme, which is basically blank, black on white. So I could choose, say, this biz theme here and click OK. It's going to apply the theme to my document, and then I can start creating a presentation just like we would in Microsoft PowerPoint. So I could say This is a business plan by Anson Alexander. And then if I wanted to add a new slide, I could go up. There's a few different ways to do it, but we could go up here to slide and we could hit new slide. We've got a second slide here. And here are the key goals of our business plan. We could say, increase user base. Now I could go ahead and I could select this part here and I could make this a bulleted list, a numbered list, just like we would in a regular document. Once you're ready to view your show, you can go up to slide. Actually, it's not in slide. You can go up to view and we can go to present, and our show will be presented on our screen. And this is going to go with your Google account. So if you need a quick presentation that you don't have time, you're not going to be bringing your computer with you, you need to put it together real quick and you need to have it at the place where you're going to be giving the presentation, you could do it here in Google Drive and open it up on anybody's computer. Remember to title your presentation up here at the top. So we can just call this business plan. Notice you have a few different tools to use up here in presentation. We can insert text boxes, we can insert images, we can insert shapes. So we can do arrows, circles, squares. So if we want to draw a little diagram on one of our slides here, we could insert a square and I could draw the square out. Then I could go up here and I could insert a arrow, going from the middle of the square to another square circle over here. So, that's up to your creativity, but you do have that option here in Google Presentation. To present the show, you can also click the present button up here at the top right as well. I think I forgot to mention that. So definitely play around in here. It's pretty powerful for being a web-based presentation program. It doesn't have quite all of the features that a Apple Keynote or a Microsoft PowerPoint has, but it's pretty darn close, and especially for a web-based presentation suite here in Google Drive. So let's go ahead and close that one out. We're going to go ahead and quickly create a form. So I mentioned this is good for creating surveys and tests and quizzes and that sort of thing. You can kind of go through Google's instruction that they provide for you. I'm going to close that out for now. And you'll notice we can choose a theme just like we could in presentations. I'm just going to stick with the default theme. And we could go in and we could start adding some questions. Now, I'm going to try and do an entire video just for Google Forms in this series because I know a lot of you are looking for more information on that. But I don't have time in this video. So if it's not quite enough information, just let me know in the comments so I have an idea of how many people are interested in that video. But just as an example here, we could call this form, quiz 1. We could have question number 1, and we could say, what is your favorite color? And then we could put our options in here. So, we could do red, we could add blue, or green. We'll just give them 3 options. Now when we're done, we can hit done, and it's going to save that question, and we could go down here and we could add another question by going up here to insert, and we could choose paragraph, text question, a multiple choice question. You can do checkboxes. You can do list-based questions. You can also do questions that have a scale that the user needs to choose, a grid, so like a matrix type quiz. So you can create different headers and page breaks within your quiz. So you can do a lot with this. It's not a survey gizmo or a survey monkey. Those are a little bit more advanced, but it does help for just your basic questionnaires and surveys that you need to shoot out real quick. You can go ahead and create it, and then you can go up here to the big blue button on the top right, and you can click send form, and you can just email it to people down here at the bottom, and they can fill out the survey, and you'll get your answers in a spreadsheet here in Google Drive. So if I click on this form, I guess it's the same form, we can go to responses, and we can say summary of responses. It's going to take us, we don't have any responses right now, but you can see it would show a whole bunch of analytics here regarding which color people picked, what percentage of people picked it. So it's a pretty cool feature here of Google Drive. Again, stay tuned for my full tutorial on using Google Forms. I just don't have time in this video. The last thing we're going to talk about in this video is just going back to our Google Drive homepage. We're going to click on create, and we're going to choose a drawing just so you can see what this looks like. It's equivalent to a Microsoft Visio, is the program Microsoft has for drawing diagrams. And a lot of these tools we have in here are also available in the presentation format of document for Google Drive. So we can insert shapes, so we could insert a square, and then we could insert, say, another square, and then we can connect them with a line here. So we can connect, that point to that point, and we could create a whole flow chart here in Google Drive. If you guys are interested, I will also publish an entire video related specifically to drawing here in Google Drive. So let me know in the comments section here on YouTube or on ansonalex.com if you'd be interested in that video. And just like all the other document formats, Google Drawings save automatically. So we could just call this, drawing 1. And once it saves, we can go back to our list and we'll see we have this untitled drawing. Should update the name here. I might have to refresh the page. Did we get the updated name? I might not have. Yeah, we did. Okay. So it might just take a second. There we go. It just took a second for it to update my list. But you should have a good idea on how to create documents here in Google Drive. Stay tuned for more videos in this series. I'm going to be releasing a video on how to share documents, how to organize your documents, a specific video on Google Forms, possibly one on Google Drawing. I'm also going to talk about some advanced features here in Google Drive, sharing with Microsoft Office users, and a whole bunch of great detailed information for you to use while you're using Google Drive. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, I would really appreciate a thumbs up here on YouTube. And if you want to see more technology tips and tutorials, specifically Google Drive tutorials, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to my newsletter on AnsonAlex.com. It's in the right sidebar at the top of the page. That's all I have for you for today. This is Anson from AnsonAlex.com.